Let's look at this question. This question came out in SPM 2024, which is a past year question in paper 1. So we have to pay attention to this chapter. Why? Because it will come out at least 2 questions for paper 1 every year. Okay, so for this chapter, we have to pay attention to base 2, base 8, and base 10. Okay, these 3 are the common bases that came out in the past year question for number bases. So when you see this question, you pay attention to the base number. So for this is base 2. Okay, base 2 and base 2. So what's the meaning of base 2? It means that the number form, they are using digits 0 and 1. So if it's 2 or more, then we reject. Okay, so we have to make sure that our answers are all in digits 1 and 0. And that's base 2. Okay, so let's solve this one. So 1, 1, 0, 0, 1 and plus 1, 0, 1, 1, 1 and base 2. Okay, 1 plus 1 is 2. So our answers cannot be using digit 2, right? So we have to bring up the 1, here becomes 0. Okay, so 1 plus 1 is 2, so we cannot use 2. So we have to bring up the 1 and here 0. And then 1 plus 1 is 2, so we cannot use 2, right? So we're going to bring up the 1, it becomes 0. And then 1 plus 1 is 2 again. So we got to bring up the 1, here become 0. And then 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So we cannot use 2, we cannot use 3. So we bring up the 1, and then 3 minus 2 is 1. So we can use digit 1, okay? Then 1 plus 0 is 1. So our answer is 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, base 2. And the answer is A. Let's look at question number 2. So this question is based on number bases. Okay, let's read the question. Dimi Boutique sells a wallet for 225 ringgit. So the customer will get 15 ringgit discount for the purchase. So calculate the price in base 7 that the customer has to pay for a wallet. Okay, so first you plan. Okay, must have a plan first. Plan your working. So first you need to find what is the price of the wallet after discount. Then after that, the price after discount is already in base 10. So you have to change the base 10 to base 7, okay, by using division method. Okay, let's solve this. So 225 minus 15 ringgit. Okay, so how much is this? Okay, so 225 minus 15 is 210. Okay, so this is in base 10. So in order to change to base 7, we have to use the division method. So 210, okay, you want to change to base 7? You divide it by 7, okay? So 7 times what is close to 210? 30, right? So 30. Is there any remainder? No. So you put a 0 at the side here, okay? Then you divide it by 7 again. Okay, what times 7 is close to 30? 4, right? So 4 times 7 is 28, right? So 4 times 7 is 28. So there will be a balance of 2, okay, remainder 2. Then we divide it by 7 again. Okay, 4 can be divided by 7 or not? Cannot, right? So you put a 0 here and you bring down the 4, okay? So the answer is 420 in base 7. Let's look at question number 3. So this is on algebraic expressions. Okay, simplify. Okay, for this type of question, for algebra, you need to memorize the law of indices. Still remember? Okay, let's recap a bit. So if A times B, okay, then outside there's a power n, yeah, is equals to A power n times B power n, okay? Or it can also be AB power n. So it's the same. Okay, so for this question, let's solve it. So m to the power of 4. So this 4, we have to times with half. 4 times half is 2, okay? And then times, so n, negative 6. So power negative 6, times with half is how much? Negative 3, right? So negative 3, okay? And then you divide it by m. So negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. And then n power 2, okay? Inside is 1. 1 times 2 is 2, okay? And then we combine them together. Okay, so if it's times, okay, if it's divide, then we minus the power, okay? So we can recap a bit on the law of indices when it comes to times, okay? So if it's A power m times A power n, so it's A power m plus n. Okay? If it's a power m divided by a power n, it's a power m minus n. Okay, so now let's do this. So I'm going to put this in the form of a fraction, then we can see clearly, okay? M squared times n power -3 and divided by m -4 and then n squared, okay? So this one also times, yeah? So the next step is we look at the power for m, 2 and -4, okay? So we gather them together. So this is considered as division. So m, 2 minus -4. So if it's divide, we minus the power, okay? Then for n, -3 minus 2, okay? -3 minus 2. So you will get m, 2 negative become positive. So 2 plus 4 is 6. And then n, -3 minus 2 is -5. Okay, is there any answers here? Yes, the answer is D. Let's look at question number 4. So this is on patterns and sequences. So let's look at the number sequence given. First, we look at the denominators. So we have 2 and 4. So we try to make the denominators equal. We make it denominator 4, okay? So the first one, you times 2, top and bottom, okay? Then this also you times 2. So you get a new pattern, okay? So we have 6 over 4, and then we have 7 over 4, and then this 2 is 8 over 4, because 8 over 4 is equals to 2, so 8 over 4. And then we can get x already, which is 9 over 4, right? Because to get from one to another, we just need to add 1 over 4. This one we add 1 over 4. Can you see the pattern? Okay, we just need to add 1 over 4 to get the next term, yeah? Then we have 10 over 4. And then for y will be 11 over 4. Okay, so which means that our x value is 9 over 4. And then y is 11 over 4. Okay, so they are asking us to find what is the value of x plus y. Okay, so x plus y is equals to, so x is 9 over 4. Okay, y is 11 over 4. So 9 plus 11 is 20 over 4. So 20 over 4 is equals to 5. And the answer is A. Let's look at question number 5. So this is on area and volume. So for area and volume, students need to memorize the formulas for area and volume of 2D and 3D solid geometry. Okay, let's look at this question. A farmer stores water in a closed cubical tank. So cubical tank, what shape is this? This is a cube. So how does a cube look like? Okay, so a cube has all same sides. It has 6 surfaces. All are squares. Okay, it has 6 squares. So this is the length, breadth, and height. Okay, since all of them are the same length, so I'm going to put x. So let's continue reading, which has the volume of 1,728 meter cube. So this is going to be the x times x times x, right? Which is x cubed equals to 1,728. So we need to find what is the length for one side in order to find the total surface area. So we have how many surface area? We have 6, right? And each surface area is x squared because x times x, okay? So we're going to find x first. So x is equals to cube root of 1728, okay? Which is equals to 12 meters. So this is the length for each side. So in order to find the total surface area, we have to put into 6 because 6 surfaces and each surface is x squared, length times breadth, okay? So we're going to substitute 12 into the x. So 6, 12 square. So 12 square is 144. So 144. So when you times them together, okay, let's calculate. 144 times 6, we get 864. So 864 meter square. And the answer is C. Let's look at question number 6. So this is on consumer mathematics, financial management. So let's read the question. Table 1 shows the monthly expenses of Zali, who works as an engineer. Zali's salary in May is 8,000 ringgit. So in May. So fixed monthly savings. So this is the savings that he put into the bank. And then he has to pay for housing loan installment, which is an expenses. Okay, one of his expenses. Insurance premiums, 400 ringgit. Car loan installment, 1,000 ringgit. Groceries, 1,500 ringgit. Home utilities, so utilities like the electricity bill, the phone bill, the water bill, okay? So 650, and then children's education, 600 ringgit, and petrol, 700 ringgit. Okay, let's continue reading. In June, okay, just now was May, now June, Zali received a salary increment of 10%, okay, kenaikan gaji, ya. He has increased his fixed monthly savings by 200 ringgit. So this one plus 200, okay? And other expenses remain unchanged. So calculate his cash flow for June. Okay, so here we need to calculate how much is the total expenses, okay, for each month, yeah? So since it remain unchanged. Okay, so let's calculate. So 1,200 plus 400 plus 1,000 plus 1,500 and then plus 650 and then plus 600 and plus 700. So you will get 6,050. Okay, so you have 6,050 here. So we need to calculate how much is Zali's salary in June after the increment of 10%. So if in May it's 8,000, so 10% of 8,000 is 800, right? So which means that in the month of June, his salary is 8,000 plus the 10% is 800, so become 8,800, okay? So it's 8,800 in June. So we're going to use 8,800, okay? So I'm going to minus off the savings because he's going to deduct 1,000 and put inside the bank as savings. So 1,000, and then you got to minus all the expenses, okay? Housing loan, premiums, car loan installment, groceries, and so on. So total 6,050 for the expenses. Okay, so how much is this? Let's calculate. Just now was 8,800 minus 1,000 minus 6,050. So he still have a remainder, which is balance, 1,750. So this is his cash flow for June. The answer is C. Let's look at question number 7. So this is on consumer mathematics on taxation, yeah, percukayan. Okay, let's read the question. Fahmi owns a house. Every half year, which is 6 months, like January to June and July to December. Okay, there'll be 2 times he has to pay. He pays an assessment tax of 184 ringgit and 50 cents to the city council. Calculate the property assessment tax rate in percent. If the annual value of its residential property is 7,380 ringgit. Okay, so let's say X to be the rate for the property assessment tax rate, right? Okay, but before that, we need to find how much is the assessment tax for 1 whole year. So since half year is 184.5, so 1 year will be 184.5 times 2, okay? Let's calculate how much is this. 184.5 times 2 is 369 ringgit. Okay, let's say X is the tax rate. X over 100 times 7,380 is equals to 369. So to find X, I use 369 times 100, then divided by 7,380, so I get 5. Okay, which means that is 5%. So the answer is B. Let's look at question number 8. So this is under consumer mathematics insurance. So Ben bought a third-party motor insurance policy. Only third party. No fire and theft, and then there's no comprehensive. Okay, so if anything happens to his own car, so he won't get any compensation. Okay, only the third party would get the compensation. So who is the third party? The third party is when he go and hit other people's car. So other people's car is third party. Okay, so let's look at the options given. Ben's car was stolen. So this is under third party fire and theft and comprehensive. But he didn't buy third party fire and theft. He didn't buy comprehensive. So no, that's not the answer. Okay. So B, the repair cost of the car hit by Ben. Means the car in front of Ben kena langgar. So he has to pay. Okay. His insurance have to pay compensation to the third party, which is the car hit by Ben. So the answer is B. Okay. The answer is B. Yeah. Okay, let's look at C. Okay, so the repair cost of Ben's car due to accident, because Ben's car also got dented. So how? So he won't get any compensation because he didn't buy the comprehensive insurance. Okay? Then for D, Ben's car caught on fire. So he needs to buy the third one, which is the third party fire and theft. Okay? So the third party fire and theft, if he buy that insurance, then only he will get compensation. But he only bought the third party fire motor insurance policy without fire, without theft, and there's no comprehensive. Okay, so the answer is B. Let's look at question number 9. So this on consumer mathematics insurance. Okay, Sue lives in Kuala Lumpur. She wants to renew the car insurance policy for a car with an engine capacity of 1,600 cc and has an NCD no claim discount of 45%. So what is NCD? So NCD is a discount given if you didn't get involved in any accident. Okay, so the following year when you want to renew your insurance, then you will get a discount. Okay, so 1,600 cc, let's look at the table, is this bracket. Okay, 1,650, so it's close to that and it's lesser than 1,650. That's the closest. So we have the comprehensive policy and we have the third party policy. Okay, so how much? Okay, so see, if Sue chooses the third party policy, find the amount of insurance that she needs to pay. So she only bought third party. So she buys third party policy. Anything happens to her car, she won't get any compensation. But if she hits someone else's car in front of her, then the third party, which is the car hit by her, will get the compensation. Okay, so this is the amount that she has to pay. So 135, but there's an NCD 45%. So we have to use 135 minus the 45%. Okay, so I can actually use 100% minus 45%. So actually she has to pay 55%. Okay, so how much is the 55%? 55% of 135. Okay, so which means it's 55 over 100 times 135. Okay, so how much is this? Let's calculate with the calculator. So 55 over 100 times 135 is 74 ringgit and 25 cents. Okay, 74.25. So the answer is D. Let's look at question number 10. So this is on linear equations. So given 2 minus 3 over 4 m equals to 2 bracket m minus 1. Find the value of m. So for this, you see, whenever you see a fraction, that's a tip. Okay, so the tip is, if you want to get rid of the denominator, all the terms times 4. Okay, times the denominator. So 2 times 4 is 8, minus, so 3 over 4 times 4 is 3m, equals to, so this will be 8m minus 1. Okay, so the next step is to open up the bracket on the right hand side. So this one remain, just bring it down. So 8 times m is 8m, then 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. Okay, and then the next step is we are going to gather all the like terms together. So we 8 plus 8, and then here will be 8m. So you shift the negative 3m over, become plus 3m. So 8 plus 8 is 16. 8 plus 3 is 11m. Okay, so here I'm going to swap them around so that my m remains on the left hand side. Okay, so m will be, so 11m means is 11 times m. So to get m, I shift the 11 over, it becomes divide. So 16 over 11, and that's the answer. The answer is C.